you dumb, beautiful fucker.
Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 230 of the AllYouCanHear podcast. I'll be your host today, Patrick, and joining me today are my three compatible co-hosts.
It's Jonathan.
Drifting in circles. Someone call it a donut. Colt.
Ranger Wenzel. Howdy, partner.
Yeehaw.
You're just going to scroll past without saying howdy?
Howdy then.
Yeah.
All right. This is week 3 of our month-long tribute to Kaiju and Kaiju movies and Kaiju media. And today we'll be talking about the brand new Netflix anime series, Pacific Rim: The Black.
Yeah.
Now, if that name sounds familiar, you as Kaiju fans, I'm sure that would. This is the third major installment in the Pacific Rim series. We have 2013's original live-action Kaiju action movie. We have 2019's Pacific Rim Uprising, and now 2021's Pacific Rim: The Black, which is
Uprising was 2019?
It's think so.
It was either 2019 or 2018. It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been very long.
God, that's fucked. It feels like it was forever ago to me.
And so, and this series has been a long time coming because we were expecting an animated series from Pacific Rim and Guillermo del Toro way back in at least 2013 to 2014. So this has been through an extreme developmental hell, and of course, this is not really. And I would think this isn't really what the original series was. It sort of morphed and changed along the way, but we're finally getting another installment in Pacific Rim. Yeah, if you don't count the comic books and stuff. But
Uprising was 2018, by the way.
Okay, 2018. So this is the next installment, and I think just like this basic sort of overview, this takes place after Pacific Rim Uprising, after sort of they fought, this resurgence of kaiju and monsters and the otherworldly precursors that are distributing the kaiju into the human world. But it's after the sort of, I would say, positive ending to Uprising, there seems to be a definite turn of the tide for the Jaeger pilots, as the entire continent of Australia has been overrun by kaiju, forcing the evacuation of the entire country. So leaving only a few stragglers of military, civilians, and the roughhousers left on the continent. And this story follows two orphans as they try to survive in the new world, find their Jaeger pilot parents, and escape the island. Escape the continent. So just sort of brief first thoughts. What did we think of Pacific Rim: The Black?
It took probably 5 minutes to get over the weird CG. Because the background work, for me, I thought the background work was absolutely beautiful. It's like they put these 3D models in front of beautifully drawn backgrounds.
That's what they did.
Okay, then they did. But it's...
I mean, they had to draw the backgrounds.
Yes, I understand that.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Then you had to do that.
What is going on? Anyways, I enjoyed the first episode. I really, really enjoyed it, and I thought, I'm hoping it stays this high throughout the whole series. It dips down a little bit somewhere in there, but at the end, I think it got a little better towards the end.
I would have to agree. I really liked how it started off, but then it kind of dips as you go. It's not like, honestly, spoilers. Obviously, we'll probably have spoilers.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the whole thing.
We're talking about the whole thing.
All 7 episodes.
All 7. It's all 7 episodes. It's one season. It was actually pretty short, 20 minutes, maybe a little bit over that per episode. It was very easy to watch. I would say that's a positive too. But the thing is that like it's not your average like giant monster, giant mech show where like you're getting a lot of fighting. You're not really getting that much fighting with our main characters. And like that's fine because I've always enjoyed the Pacific Rim universe, and I found this pretty interesting story wise. But like, the kaiju giant mech kaiju fighting is where it kind of lacks. But then it picks up actually towards the end with the very last episode. So, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I didn't mind the CG. The CG actually looked pretty damn good. With what we got.
It's like top of the line
the
Netflix
movements.
CG.
Yeah.
Past Netflix CG has been rough a little bit. Thinking back to the Ultraman CG anime they did a few years back, it was a little bit rough to watch, but they definitely have gotten better with it.
Oh yeah, it's very well. Movements are fine, very nice, a little more fluid. Expressions are really good too, and it's a lot better than that one CG anime we watched.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like on a spectrum of CG animated anime, you have. I don't know if Pacific Rim: The Black's at the very top. I would say it's pretty close to a peak in CG animation, but then you have like at the very end, falling off the table is X-Arm.
Yeah.
So. I think we're definitely in the good end of the spectrum.
I would say we're like B plus, maybe A rank.
Yeah, personally,
range.
I thought the new Ghost in the Shell anime that Netflix is doing looks better, but they're pretty close quality wise.
Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. The animation, especially for the character models, is a little wonky, especially for the non-main characters. But
yeah,
other than that, it's really good. I do like the character designs themselves. Really, they all stand out. Really, really flashy and whatnot. I think I agree with y'all in the sense of it does drop down in quality towards the middle. When it is less about the big kaiju stuff and it tries to be very, very serious. But
yeah, that fucking middle part, I'm just going to say this name, I did not like Shane's character at all. Not because of the actions, but because it was a shitty character, in my opinion.
Now, Shane was the Kurt Russell looking motherfucker,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. God, he was such a bitch. And we'll get to that because there are multiple points in the show where I think it's like you could have wrapped this up quicker. It felt contrived to elongate the plot to like I don't know, save him for like season 2 or 3 or however long this show goes.
Yeah.
But like I really liked the very beginning and the last episode, and I really liked sort of the lore bits they drop in the setting building, which I thought was really fucking cool.
Yes, because there was a part in there where they go into a breach, and this is where I really enjoyed this part because I didn't watch Pacific Rim Uprising, so I didn't know what was contained from that and this, and they go into a part where they go into a breach, and they pretty much explain what happened. That was the biggest thing that happened in there, and they name off a ton of different kaiju, Jaegers, and like that. I think that was cool. Just those little, like I said, I really enjoy the Pacific Rim universe, and those little tidbits we get right there. And there's a little bit of mystery too. We get a little bit of mystery with Loa, an AI who for the most of the anime had been kind of witty, but still very flat. But now is starting to show more of just being, kind of robotic. She's an AI, so she should be kind of more flexible in terms of personality, and it seems like we're getting that because she's keeping a secret.
So, I definitely agree. I do appreciate how they're seeding for bigger, like these bigger plots, and I know that they are planned for 2 seasons. They're currently working on the 2nd season. I would think, like a lot of these sort of Netflix shows, they have a bunch of stuff ready to go, and then like stuff is already in the can and in production. So I would imagine the 2nd season would come out in fairly short order. But just sort of overview for me, I agree. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's definitely a step up from Uprising. Because I know myself included, along with a lot of other fans of the universe and sort of general Kaiju Toku fans, is that they felt very disappointed and underwhelmed by Uprising. Just sort of like it just went in some very different directions, and tonally it just didn't really feel the same as the original. And I feel like this movie is doing a pretty good job of like balancing what we knew already and working with what was added in Uprising, and sort of like trying to make the best of that. And I think it does a pretty good job with that.
Yeah.
And like we said, from this point on, it will be like full spoilers. So if by some chance you haven't seen it, this will be your jumping off point. Come back to see us when you got to watch it. And plus, it's only 7 episodes, ranging from 20 to 27 minutes, so you can knock it out pretty quick. And like John and I did it in less than an afternoon.
Yeah, we literally did it in one sitting. So,
Yeah,
and it did.
Yeah.
Same here.
Same. Well, sort of same.
Okay, then it's not the same, is it?
I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I watched the rest 5 today, okay?
That's not one sitting. That's 2.
Oh my god, it didn't take long. Ugh.
But to give an
Sorry.
answer, it's like 2 hours, 40-something minutes just to watch it all in one sitting.
Yeah, we can pretty much chalk it up as one big movie if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Justice League is going to be longer.
You can watch the damn thing nearly
shit.
twice.
Yeah.
But anyhow, spoiler alert, from here on out, we will get into all the details as we go forward. So the show opens up with a flashback of the 2 main characters, this brother and sister, as children, as they're sort of fleeing from a kaiju attack on their hometown in Australia. That's where the whole thing takes place. And their parents are Jaeger pilots. They pilot a Jaeger named Horizon
Vertigo.
Hunter Vertigo.
Hunter. I was thinking
Hunter Vertigo.
I was thinking there's another one called Horizon Bravo. I was thinking that comes in later. But Hunter Vertigo is their parents' Jaeger. And it takes like design cues, I think, from Gypsy Danger and Striker Eureka from the first film. And so it had this pretty cool fight with this new kaiju called Acid Quill. It's sort of like, it looks sort of like a snake with like big forearms to walk around on these 2 large like glowing tendrils it sort of pokes and stabs with.
Yeah,
And
it reminds me of like a souped-up version of the bone things from Kong Skull Island.
Oh,
Yeah.
the skull crawlers?
Yeah. But I think these are cooler than the skull crawlers, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, these are actually threatening. They have poison, like quills or whatever. Or, not quills, points, stingers.
Yeah, big killy tentacles. And so they're able to escape the city, but not through some severe damage and casualty, because the few remaining Jaegers in the city, they're also destroyed. And basically this sort of blackout operative is sort of sent out to sort of all the tech in the city is sort of detonated, and the satellites are even like grounded to make sure that the precursors who have sort of hacked into human technology can't access them. And so the parents, they take the survivors far into the desert, or I guess the outback of Australia, and sort of lead them and promise to come back with reinforcements. But we see 5 years later that they have yet to return.
Yeah, and they have. Oh, sorry.
Can I? Somebody gonna?
Go.
Okay, I'm going. Goodbye.
And it's gone.
Oh, well, fuck you too.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Somebody go.
I'm about to go. Okay,
I
what's
made my
the-
point.
What's the
No,
name? of
no.
the-
I want to.
What's the name of the main mech? The one that's
Atlas Destroyer. is
Atlas
it?
Destroyer.
Atlas Destroyer. That's the one the parents piloted, right?
No,
No.
Atlas Destroyer is the one that the kids pilot.
Okay, I really, really liked the Atlas Destroyer's color scheme. It was very auburn, war eagles. I don't care about that, but I thought it looked very cool. It looked like it was a training unit because it had no weapons on it. But I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, Atlas Destroyer. Also, a badass name. All of the Jaegers have such good names. I love them. I love them so much.
The name Atlas Destroyer implies that it destroys the world pretty much.
That's such a badass name, and it's a training unit, and it has no weapons, which is bullshit.
I feel like that name's probably a spoiler.
Well,
For something down the line.
Well, they mentioned something. It was kind of this offhanded comment that it was like a no really big boy Jaeger, but they
stripped it down.
something happened and they took it out of commission and stripped it down.
Yeah.
So
to
I
be a
imagine that will
training
be
unit.
that will tie into whatever Lola's plot is going to be later in the story.
Loa being the AI that was that's inside of their Jaeger, which I think is really cool with this series because I don't really remember the AI having like a big part in at least Uprising, because like in the show they're definitely much more like of like a not just an interface or like danger or whatever. There's like it's an actual like conversational like entity they can sort of interact with. And also, Loa's sassy as fuck.
Man, she doesn't give a fuck.
She was funny. I loved Lola. Man, yeah. And and the parents' Jaeger, Hunter Vertigo, was really sick, and it lacked an AI.
Or it had Root. Root was its AI, but it didn't seem
Root?
to have the same
Okay.
level of like, I guess, intelligence as Loa seems to.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and there was another one at the very beginning that had miniguns. I can't remember what its name was, but it was pretty sick. It got killed quickly though.
Yeah, when
rest
they're
in peace.
initially fleeing the city.
Yeah, because he had like these big ass like Gatling minigun on its wrist mounted, and they're able to like do some supply fire when they got ganked by an acid quill.
Yeah, which is like it's kind of bullshit. Well, not bullshit. It makes sense that their heads are tiny now because it's like that's their weak spot, the head, and it's like, well, shit. You lose the head. I mean, like an actual person, you die.
Isn't I want to say one of the ones we see die in the beginning? Isn't that one of the characters from? I want to say it was the first Pacific Rim.
From the first Pacific Rim, no, but there is a character in the show. We've already said spoilers. Hercules Hansen.
Yeah.
He was in the first Pacific Rim, but he was the one that initiated Operation Blackout. But he wasn't with the two Jaegers that were trying to save Hunter Vertigo's kids.
Okay.
He did die. He was one of the suits at the very beginning that was fighting, but we didn't know that was Herc until later when the kid Taylor does a ghost drift or whatever.
Well, we'll get into that. And after doing some little reading after the show, I think they sort of modified that to say that Herc is not KO. It's like killed in action. He's just missing in action. So he,
Okay.
so he may yet
That's
come
good.
back because like he was, let's be honest. There's a lot of people missing that survived the first Pacific Rim and Uprising. Him being very conspicuously absent. So I thought it was really cool to have him like be in the show, and then having sort of these direct references and ties to the original and even the second one. Could they mention like characters and like Jaegers by name from the second film as well as we'll get to later on? But seeing that Herc had survived and he may yet still be out there and be like a player in this whole game is really exciting.
That is exciting because I really enjoyed Herc in the first Pacific Rim, and like you said, we didn't see him die. We just see his when he killed one of the kaiju, it just landed on his Jaeger, and he was tired, and that's all we saw was just him laying down. So yeah, man, I'm really excited, and it's man, it always bothers me that his freaking son dies in the first Pacific Rim. Like, I don't know why. I just remembered that. I was like, shit. That sucks.
Yeah, and
they have a dog.
And I'm really interested to at what point does this series, where in the timeline did this takes place? Because Uprising is X years after Pacific Rim, and then this is X years after that, and then 5 years on top of the prologue. Like, how much time is back? Because apparently it can't be too much time because Hercules, is still very much like an active like pilot, and he was, I would say, at least mid-40s in the first movie.
I read a little bit.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim 1 takes place in the 2020 something, and then Uprising takes place 10 years after the first one. So it's like
wait. Oh my god, he has to be old as
Like,
shit.
yeah,
because
he's
he
gonna
had
be
like,
old as shit.
Like, he's just like
had
this,
gray
like,
hair.
I just imagine he still looks like the same jacked Australian dude from the first movie, but he's just like 60.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, his name's Hercules. You know what? I believe it.
Oh, what did y'all think about the tone of the show? Because it definitely was going for... Because one of the things I loved about the original Pacific Rim was it was really fun. Like, you really got the sense of danger and threat of what these kaiju were posing to just humanity at large. But that sort of danger didn't really bring the tone down. Like, there were still like comic relief characters like Charlie Day and other things like that, but this was definitely going for a more dour post-apocalypse, like a similar to like Walking Dead vibe. What did y'all think about that?
You could tell that they were trying to emulate the tone of the original Pacific Rim, because it was a lot sadder. But they peppered in these comedic moments, but it was like very light peppering. Like, I can only really remember Boy eating a butterfly. I think it was all the Boy moments. There's a character named the Boy.
Boy.
The way they say it too, I was like, oh, that's God of War reference right there.
Yeah.
Those fuckers.
I thought it was funny that we'll get to Boy's character in a moment, that they never gave him a name. It's just Boy.
And it doesn't make any sense. Like, the guy, the older brother, he's just like, Boy fits him. We're not going to give him any other name. Why not?
Well,
give him a name. Boy.
Because one thing we will get into later is the main character is kind of a twat.
Like the big brother.
There's just some character dialogue, like, just decisions in there that I'm just completely upset with. Oh my god, yeah, we'll get into it later. But, like, tonally, like, it went really dark really fast, and I wish they would have, like, okay, if you're gonna go dark, deal with the implications of it being dark, because, like, okay, immediately, right, the younger sister,
Taylor.
what's her name?
No.
Her name's not
Haley, excuse me.
Haley, she when she activates Atlas Destroyer, it signals one of the Category 4 kaiju nearby called Copperhead. Badass name, badass design, by the way. And it goes to their settlement that used to be a military base, but it got buried. That's how they got Atlas Destroyer, and it ends up killing everybody. Like, nobody survived from the settlement, and it was only Taylor and Haley that survived. And she's like, I got everybody killed. It's my fault. And the brother he's just like, he doesn't say like, nah. So it's kind of implying like, yeah, it's your fault. You got everybody killed. And it's like, okay, well, if I was his brother, I'd be like, well, no, maybe we shouldn't have stayed there for 5 fucking years. Maybe we should have moved around a little more and did shit. I don't know. That's just me. Or, like, I don't know, do something to comfort your sister because all their friends are dead. and I mean, I don't know. Maybe that helps for character development later and building and stuff. But like, I don't know.
It's not.
They don't.
And it's not like that doesn't go unexplored either, because I think like the next episode she's sort of dealing with the PTSD from all that.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, because that was part of the stuff I liked, was what it was like. Even though like I don't really like that choice that she's ostensibly responsible for the death of their entire village, like her best friend, everybody. It's kind of fucked, but like they do sort of do that sort of psychological exploration for like the next episode, and then once they find Boy, it kind of goes off in a different direction.
Yeah, like they never really explore it again until we get to the older brother's psychological profile, which is that he feels like a failure.
And I mean, and he gets
like,
a bunch of people killed throughout the show too.
Honestly, both of them are directly and indirectly responsible for a lot of people's death.
Oh yeah, they're menaces.
But the thing is, though, they're indirectly and directly, and it's like, okay, because later they meet like what's essentially a gang of, they're called riders. I don't know what they're called.
Australian rednecks.
The Bogans.
I keep thinking of raiders, like they're like Mad Max.
I mean,
Fallout Raiders.
It was pretty much Mad Maxing out there.
Yeah.
Pretty much, they're Mad Maxing it
with anime Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, the boy, they find a kid just randomly in a facility, and they're out in the desert, and they see some cars go by, and they're like, oh, other people, like we need to go after them, see what's going on, like make contact. And Boy he accidentally goes down a dune while these people are by a river trying to not get killed by a kaiju. The boy accidentally gives them away. 2 guys get killed, and the leader is just like, you guys got my men killed, I'm gonna kill you kids. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Sorry, I jumped far ahead. Let's dial it back.
I will say, going back to the tonal capacity of the show, I do think if what they're setting up is like after 2 installments where they have these 2 big victories over the kaiju menace, the precursor, the people who control the kaiju, they're having like, okay, y'all got 2 licks on us. Now it's time for round 3, and they really just like turn up the bullshit, because as we find out, because they just unleash all the kaiju, like so many that they have to vacate an entire continent of Australia. So like this is like a big turn in the tide. So obviously, when they're having this monumental loss and continuing like sort of trying to push back against this, it's like increasingly larger wave, I think the tone would reflect that, and I think they do that, and sort of exploring, I guess, this like the really seedy element, because you saw like little glimpses of like seedy parts in the first movie, what with like Hannibal Chow and his like network of like kaiju scavengers, but it's still a little bit more lighthearted. But this really shows like when the bad things happen in the world, the really bad people, they really take to it, and like that's what Shane and his sort of Bogan army is really sort of experts in.
Oh yeah, they're Bogan. That's the name of their place. Bogan.
Yeah, because like that's essentially what Bogan is in Australia. They're just these deep rednecks. But like we said, they uncovered the Jaeger. They try it out, but that accidentally draws in Copperhead, a very strong kaiju, to their location, and it
also nicknamed Jaeger Breaker.
It's like right away you get the biggest bitch out the box, and it fucks up a lot of stuff. so they end up having to leave after their village is destroyed, and they go to a city that's been completely demolished, where they have to find like basically a battery, because Atlas Destroyer has been sitting dormant for 5 years. I had enough of a charge to get around for a while, but it's dead. So they have to find this disproportionately small battery to put inside the Jaeger.
Yeah.
Hey, nuclear energy can go far.
Yeah, because I was
Well-
because they had to walk quite a ways to get to it, and me and Pat were talking about like how the fuck are they going to bring this shit back? And it's like, oh, it's because it's relatively small.
It was just a. Well, I don't. It's not a nuclear battery because the only Jaeger that I remember having a nuclear reactor was Gypsy Danger from the first one.
Hey, I'm just trying to explain the size, because nuclear energy can go a long way. But if it's just normal electricity, that's not realistic. And this show's
Yeah,
garbage because of it.
well, also there's giant monsters and robots.
Yeah, so like obviously
It's-
magical mech battery, whatever. I mean, we can't look into the science of this too much because one, it's not going to be coherent, and two, it doesn't really matter.
Also, like we got a boy who turns into a kaiju at the end. Like,
Spoiler.
Whoa,
Whoa! And also when they're in the
What?
city, they meet this other creature which looks like it's part kaiju, part Jaeger.
It looks awesome.
yeah,
Which was sick.
it kind of reminded me of Evangelion when Unit 01 like goes berserk
Yeah.
and starts eating shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because this
I
boy
see
was
it.
eating.
And that element is revealed in full a few episodes down the road, but that is, as explained, is from Pacific Rim Uprising, where the precursors basically launched these kaiju like seeds or drones, which would infect a Jaeger. Just sort of, you would see them just like these weird fleshy body parts just like burst up from the inside of the Jaeger, a lot of times killing the pilots. And you just see like spikes and claws and shit just burst out. It's really freaky. But then once they were defeated, and the second one, we find out that one survived and it has like this sort of spurt of evolution where it, like the Jaeger and the kaiju sort of fully combine. So it's just this biomechanical like giant monster, and it looks really cool and pretty freaky at the same time.
Yeah, because it's intelligent. It has no allegiances, and it was awesome.
And we find out that it's not like explicitly a malicious creature. It's just more like it's acting like a territorial animal would. Like, oh, you're encroaching on my space and you're hostile. Well, I'm just gonna attack right back. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And then once they have this little run-in with the city with that thing and all the little mini kaiju wolves called the Rippers, they make it out to the desert where they run into. You see this group of like armed individuals like trying to harvest kaiju eggs from this river-dwelling kaiju, and it leads to a pretty cool like and brutal moment where the kaiju eats those two guys, spurts their blood out of its gills, and it gets its head blown up by the new character May with a RPG.
Which
Which
was
was
badass.
pretty dang sick.
Which the way it shunted the guy's blood out of its gills remind me of a oh man, what is it called? I think it's called a frilled shark or some type of fish, which was it was pretty much like a combination between aquatic and like land, because it was a very long body but it had legs. Oh man, it looks so sick. But no, something I should say though is that, okay, you're wondering, they went to go get that battery, right? They got the battery, the boy that they broke out, okay, and they got back to their Atlas destroyer, but then turns out the battery they had, they dropped it and broke it.
Oh my god,
So
like
now-
I was so mad. I was just like fucking frustrated.
I was like, oh my god, they're going to have to stay in this city how much longer? But then they go to the desert to find, those people, and May, and then we meet that one bitch, Richter.
I hate you, Richter.
Yeah, Richter's a little bitch, but I think May is probably my favorite character in the show, and like when you meet her, you kind of know where her story's going to go. Like
She's just initially like aggressive and a hostile character, and then like because she has like a divergent character design, like okay, she's gonna end up being more important and probably joining the good team, but you find out she has like this very complicated history with the Bogan army and Kurt Russell lookalike Shane.
Oh god, and like he just has like all of like the warning signs go off of like this guy is a douche.
Yeah. Man. I don't know. It was like, God, man. It was just so. It was so. Ugh. There was a part in there where we meet another character who's also special because of what he's wearing. His name is Joel, and he's their tech guy. Well, second tech guy. Because there's another tech guy that looks actually really cool, but he's very small. And
Spider.
Yeah,
I wonder
Spider,
about
yes.
Spider. He's just like, he looks like he's a 4-year-old with like a Kamen Rider helmet and like a hoodie, and like he was super cool.
I loved him.
He was. But we meet this other guy, Joel, and there's a moment in there where, of course, sorry, I'm jumping so far ahead. I have a lot to say about this show. We find out that, because Shane is the piece of shit that he is, that he has his own little Neuralink, and that's how he interrogates people pretty much, and that's how he interrogated Taylor. He went into his mind and looked at all of his memories, and he's like, oh yeah, we got access to Jaeger now, so let's go to get that Jaeger. They go to get that Jaeger, and then like, all right, we need Joel to go inside and check it out, see what's going on. He's like, all right, Joel, you got to establish a link or I'm going to kill you. So he does, and he's like, you need a co-pilot. Take any of the riders. Richter's like, but they're my guys. It's like, yeah, well, we're using them. And then, he's like, guy goes in there. He's like, all right, I'm ready, Joel. And Joel's like, all right, let's do it. And then the guy's like, ah, and throws up and, gets knocked out. And he's like, next.
They
and
cycle.
Lois like,
they cycle through their entire fucking group that they got.
They
And
mush
Lo-
like 30 people's brains.
and
just to get
Loa
a
is
pilot.
like, and she's like, you shouldn't do this. And he's like, no, keep going. And then the Joel guy is like, literally side of his face is
It's like, it looked like he had a stroke because when you pilot a Jaeger, it takes two people sort of to share like the brunt of the sort of like the mental weight. 'Cause it's powered by thoughts and physical interaction, so it takes two people to pilot it. But because you have to have like this sort of compatibility, them destroying like a whole line of goons in there. It's like like one after the other, like it fries his brain. So like he's kind of incapacitated for a while. On top of being a virulent alcoholic, so he wasn't already in a great place to begin with.
Yeah.
But then, and then Shannon gets mad at him, like, what'd you do? What the fuck's wrong with you? And he's like, dude, I'm literally doing what you're saying.
He warned him too. He said, this is not a good idea.
Like, how could you be so stupid as to lose all your men and make your guy do what you say, and then you say it's your fault?
And the thing is they present Shane initially as sort of this, like, kind of Machiavellian type of political player in the sort of, like, different gangs that they have, but he makes all these just ridiculously stupid decisions that, like, this is where it kind of bent my suspension of disbelief, in the sense of not necessarily that he's just like, I don't know, he's kind of like a manager who gets power hungry and then will like, you'll do something and they'll yell at you anyway because they're a bunch of fucking twats. But he still has like all these resources and like the way he like runs the place, it should have been, he should have ran it into the ground by now.
Because like he's obviously, they're trying to exemplify like how much of like an evil prick he is, but also he makes so many decisions that are actively against his,
his own self-interest.
Yeah, like even if he's like, I'm just a selfish bastard, like you're doing things that like in a world of very limited resources, you're burning through your resources, and like there's only one guy that knows how to fix the Jaeger, and you're gonna like, oh, if you don't do this right, I'll kill you. Well, who's gonna fix your giant robot, dude, or any of your other shit? Like,
it also,
and then,
and like after a while, that sort of rule by fear doesn't work. Like people are going to get fed up with it. And I mean, spoiler alert, that's kind of what happens.
Yeah. Also, I should say something too. It's like Joel's job was pretty much in trouble as soon as they found Taylor the cadet. But then they later through May they find out that he doesn't have that much. He doesn't have that much experience in battling, but he does know his way around the Jaegers. But like also he threatens to kill Taylor, and he almost follows through on it. And it's like,
You're gonna have
so you're gonna
nobody.
kill-
You're gonna have no one.
you're gonna have nobody who's gonna know how to do this. And then what? He's gonna get somebody else to do it, like to figure it out. And it's like they don't figure it out, and then he kills them. And then like, dude, you're gonna go through all of your resources. There is literally like barely anybody left in Australia right now.
And that's when y'all talk about like how like it kind of dips in the middle. This is the thing that kind of bothered me. Like, and not to say that these type of people don't exist, but the show tries to present him as this sort of like evil mastermind type of guy, but his actions are self-destructive. So it's like the show's like trying to have its cake and eat it too.
And I mean, yeah, you know, you can have like I get it, like they're trying to make these villains evil, like evil, so like, you know, they're stupid or whatever. But it's like, okay, if they're a villain, then why would they be so goddamn stupid? Like,
yeah, because by the time they end up escaping with the fucking Jaeger, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, kind of makes sense. And like as like a season-long antagonist, he was definitely the weakest, and that's saying something. Where most of the other antagonists are literally just mindless monsters.
yeah, I thought it was actually pretty more interesting with Copperhead, you know, hunting them, than it was Shane just being a piece of shit. And I
was looking
you know,
forward to the Copperhead stuff, and I just wanted Shane's scenes to just get over
with. Like, and I don't know, maybe they wrote, maybe that's saying that they wrote a good character. I don't know, but or a good villain. But like, and then also there's a point in there where, okay, Taylor has to pilot because Copperhead's coming, and they're like, I don't want the two, you know, brother and sister to do it. I want one of my guys to do it. So they get May in there. So May pilots with him, and it's just like, you know, they're fighting it, and she's like, you should have killed it when you had the chance. It's like, bitch, there are no weapons on this thing, and now you know that I'm just a cadet. like I haven't been on the. What do you mean I should have killed this? There was no way for me to kill this.
And also, she didn't have much room to talk about killing something when she had the chance.
Oh my fucking god! Because and this is probably my biggest problem with the Shane plot is they have multiple chances. I'm talking multiple, like we're talking probably in the double digits to just kill this motherfucker and just fucking end it. And it's not like they don't have any motivation. Like, I guess they're trying to pull this shit with May. It's like, oh, he's like a pseudo father and blah blah blah. But Shane keeps doing like just stupid shit, and also we learn stuff like about his past, and May learns stuff about his past, like how he basically just took her from her own family and like brainwashed her.
Her actual family. Like literally, like there's a point in there where Joel, probably one of May's only friends in that group, is like, hey, everything that Shane told you is not real. He literally made up everything. He put fake memories in your mind with the Neuralink, and that he took you from your actual family. You were kidnapped, and he raised you, and he thinks of you as his family. And that's the thing. That's where I get really just aggravated at his ambitions. Is that May? They say that May is the family that he wanted, but then he also wants to be a huge like power megalomaniac. Like, okay, I mean, sure, there can be kindness and evil, but this is just dumb. Because then, like, okay, then Taylor even agrees. He's like, yeah, it's like, why would Joel lie? It's probably true. It just doesn't make any sense to, you know. And then, like, also, May and Shane's personalities conflict too much because he's evil and she's good. And I mean, this guy
not
is
only
threatening
not
to
only
kill.
just that, you know, one's evil, one's not. I mean, May is very brash and abrasive, which you wouldn't think would mesh with fucking Shane's personality, who like demands subservience. Which I mean, he does get that from her because, you know, he has this stuff theoretically over her head,
like just like very real and it like insidious form of gaslighting. Like we said, he uses Jaeger technology and repurpose it to implant fake memories, like because apparently they said he used to be a pilot, or he used to have some past with the Jaeger program, so he took memories that he got from other pilots, used that and to retrofit this fake life for her to make her a blank slate into his battle daughter, essentially.
Yeah, like Alita. Which, like, okay, like, yeah, you know, he technically, like, he doesn't have anything over her, so now she's conflicted and, you know, messed up about it, but it's like, okay, the guy is threatening to kill kids, he's a piece of shit, and now you're finding out that everything that you knew about him is not true. Like, there's nothing tying you to, like, I mean, yeah, he raised you, but also, he raised you into being a soldier for him. Like, that's not a good father. That's actually a terrible father.
And it's easy to say that, you know, with us, you know, armchair, you know, charactering over here. But yeah. Shane does, like, so many things, like, back to back. And I think this is probably my biggest issue with his character is he does so many evil things that it's just like, put a fucking bullet in him.
I mean, because she
there isn't
capped the other guy, the Richter guy.
Yeah, and I mean, he was way less evil. And honestly, like, even though Richter's a bitch, I mean, he still kind of has a point of being mad at the kids because they got his friends killed.
Like, twice.
I thought his evilness was kind of comical at a point.
Yeah, like, I feel like
there's a point in the movie, or not movie, the show, where he sends Richter to kill the kids. He's like, "What's taking you so long? It's not that hard to kill some kids." I thought that was very dumb and very funny.
And it's just he does so many just unabashedly evil things. It's like, because at first he starts out pretty interesting because, you know, you see him, he's a bad dude, but, you know, he you know, in this world it's kill or be killed, so you can kind of understand it, but he takes too many, I think the writers take too many steps with him to where I don't know how you make him any more interesting.
Yeah, I think something, because, you know, they're in Australia, the continent's been taken over by Kaiju, and the reason why that he needs this Jaeger is so that, you know, this gives him more power. And honestly, it kind of makes sense that he would want to destroy, like, because if he has this Jaeger and it's kind of dumb, but if he cuts off any contact or any connection to everywhere else in the world, then he's technically ruling over his own little continent, his own little world. But that doesn't really make sense, because then at some point, you know, either the Kaiju are going to get him, or the government's, whoever, I can't remember, the PBDC or whatever, are gonna see this stuff and investigate, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, he wants to be a warlord inside of a torn continent,
of rapidly
so
diminishing
sense,
resources.
Yeah, and I think if, like, they fucking killed him, like, when they finally all leave the whatchamacallit, the little
Bogan,
the little camp that they have, like, that would definitely be a lot more satisfying, because me and Pat were screaming. It's just like, kill the motherfucker.
Because there, like we said, there were several moments where they had opportunity, but it's like, okay, like when Atlas Destroyer, piloted by Taylor, is going to crush the fucker to save his sister, but then Meg is like, no, you know,
and
Stop.
Yeah, and this is fucking bullshit that I'm getting sick and tired of media, and maybe this is just me having really shitty ideas, so call me out if I'm being an asshole, but I'm getting fucking tired of the Batman logic, where it's like, no, I can't go down to their level, because then that means I'm just as bad as them. It's like, bitch, no you're not. Fucking shoot the Joker. Because it's more irresponsible to keep him alive, because you know he's going to escape. And I mean, granted, you know, obviously they have to do that to keep the status quo.
Yeah, or you know, plus, like, I mean, even though you can sort of say, like, oh, yes, a comic could do whatever, like, there's meta reasons why Batman keeps the Joker alive, but just like at least I would say on a psychological level, moral level, like, your one act of killing a villain does not equal, like, an entire lifetime or a sequence of events of them doing, like, aggregated bad thing, so one doesn't weigh out.
Well, and
the
Yeah,
other.
well, and then
and the
I mean,
and the-
like, sort of like the meta reason why he's kept alive. It's so he can fucking kill Joel in like the most brutal fucking
That
way.
was had me really surprised. I was not expecting Joel to get his head blown up with a bomb walkie-talkie.
I was so sad. I was legitimately sad that he died.
Yeah, as soon as I heard I can't remember what he exactly saying. He's like, well, I got these walkie-talkies, you know. As soon as he brought
I have
out...
an insurance policy on him.
Yeah, as soon as he said the insurance policy, I thought, why doesn't he throw it? As soon as I heard insurance, throw it. Please, Joel. But no.
You know, and the thing is, too, it makes so much sense that he would have somebody else pick it up and then it blow up, because earlier, whenever they're trying to take down the Jaeger with RPGs, he's like, don't aim for the head. May's in there. Oh, my God. And it's like, dude, you're cutting off more resources, okay? If you're so smart, if you think you're so smart, so good, then do all of it yourself. Stop hiring people to, I don't know.
So, but
Enough of that bullshit.
So we definitely had a lot of time concentrated on the villain, but moving to the next part of the story, so they grieve and bury Joel, and still Taylor has to deal with the strain of piloting a Jaeger by himself, even with uploaded memories of people who managed to survive that, because most people who try to pilot by Jaeger by themselves die or end up brain dead because the weight is just too much for one person's mind. So I do think the good job is like showing the consequences, because there's many times where you still feel like the scarcity of resources and like how desperate things are, because like literally they're by themselves. Of course, plot contrivances like any show would allow them to get ahead, but I still feel like there's not like another magical group of Jaegers to come out and save them. Like they still have to trick and like fight and scratch and claw to get any sort of advantage. But May, with her confliction, she runs off. But what we see once they get past that is that the portals that the Kaiju come through, they're opening up on dry land, because usually it was only in the Pacific Ocean. That's why they call it the Pacific Rim.
What?
But now they're developing on dry land.
What? Pacific?
The Pacific,
What's that?
that's a big ass wet thing.
Oh, okay.
And this is when the plot with the boy
Continue.
really starts to pick up, because like, up until this point he's been like this little quirky background character who like eats bugs and like mimics human behavior. Like there was one part where the bad guys are pointing guns at some of the people, and he like Haley goes to point and fight, and then he mimics her and does the same thing. So he's doing like little funny stuff in the background. But then like he's sort of drawn to these sort of rifts, and so they're like, oh, where the hell did he go? So they get their Jaeger to walk off to find him, and that's when they stumble into what is essentially this Kaiju and Jaeger graveyard, because you find like the bones of Kaiju and like the remains of all these other nominal Jaegers as well.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
And that's where you get this moment of like this intrigue with their AI Loa, because once she has this glitch, it's like, oh, someone accessed my files. And then like, wait, who the fuck's hacking into the Jaeger, first of all? And second of all, she has this sort of connection with another down Jaeger. It makes me like, was she taken from that one and transplanted into this other one? So like, I think it's interesting that they're making her like a plot point. Like she has a character, like she's obviously more advanced than some of the other AI, but also she has a mysterious past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I just remember the boy eating a butterfly.
And trying to stab a
funny.
scorpion with a
Also, he got
screwdriver.
Yeah, that was cute.
And then he strangled a snake. He just keeps killing, and nobody's saying anything about it. He even got shot in the head at some point and had no damage.
He got
you find out why, though,
regen
later.
powers. And when they sort of explore the wasteland more, you see the boy standing on the edge of a massive rift where an acid quill comes out. And at this point, Atlas Destroyer has gone through a lot of damage. Like, it only has one arm at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, forgot to say that. It only has one arm. It sucks.
And then the acid quill comes out, and it's about to kill him, But who shows up to save the day? The fucking Kaiju Jaeger.
Shane.
Not Shane.
Shane.
What did the
Apex. They called him Apex.
Yeah.
And he looks really cool because, obviously he looks like he's mechanical like a Jaeger, but it has all like this carapace on top, like almost like an insect with like these spikes, and he has like this, his head kind of opens up and divides like these mouth parts. It's just like a maw slap full of teeth, but also like these insect-like mouth plates to go over his I guess, opening as well.
Yeah, kind of like Optimus Prime. He's able to close
But
his mouth.
he eats dead kaijus.
face
So
shield.
Optimus Prime doesn't eat, so that's definitely spookier.
I don't know. Have you ever seen Optimus Prime take down 20,000 hot dogs?
I must have missed that fanfic.
Wasn't fanfic.
And the Jaeger Kaiju has like this moment where he interacts with the boys. Like the boys like has some Kaiju leanings, and they admit like this sort of drift between themselves. So you see like how Apex came to be. He was one of the infected Jaegers from part 2. He evolved into this new life form and just sort of been like doing his own thing. And then because Boy has this sort of Kaiju DNA, as we said, he sort of initiates his link, and also Apex is able to contact other people with drift. Like it communicates through the drift, which is this shared mental space that the pilots inhabit while they're piloting the Jaegers.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Because he was able to, because whenever he interacted with the boy, he wanted to see Haley, so he was able to connect with her, and they became friends. And then we get this really, really badass moment where he walks away, and it's like, all right, we're cool. Then he brings back an arm, and it's like, oh yeah.
And it's the first.
This arm looks sick as
Yeah,
hell,
it's
too.
the first body mod for this fucking Jaeger, and it has like a scorpion spear thing.
It has these 3 fingers. It's from a Jaeger called Chaos Nemesis. Another badass name, by the way.
And like I do appreciate like the Greek mythology of the characters here, because you have Atlas Destroyer, Atlas being the deity that supports the world, and you have Nemesis, which is the Greek god of vengeance. And so like this is when they were able to get their counterattack with the, like we said, the spear tip whip that shoots out of the arm. And so there's like this moment where they have like this knowing sort of, I guess, respect or acknowledgement. He was like, okay, we're cool, we don't have to fuck with each other anymore. And Apex goes back to devouring a dead kaiju, which is pretty brutal and like creepy to see.
Oh, and then later when they're trying to practice shooting it, Taylor, the older brother, he looks at the boy. He's like, "Do you have any tips on how to work this?" And the boy just looks at him straight, menacing face, puts his hand out like he's shooting a blaster, like Iron Man. Good bit.
So, and that's where we get the next to the counterattack. They find the ruins of a city where they discover their parents' abandoned Jaeger. So we know they survived a kaiju attack in the Jaeger, but they're still at large. We don't know what happened to them after they escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
So you don't know if they're still out there, or they're picked off, or if they're picked up. So they're still like this. I do like we still have enough mysteries to like lead into the second season.
Yeah, and there were some hints that they dropped in the little video they have, where like the mom and dad were like, "Oh, we don't know what this thing is. This is a new type of kaiju, blah blah blah," which makes me think that it was the fucking Apex that took their Hunter Vertigo out.
It's very possible because, like we said earlier, the Apex has no allegiance to the Kaiju, to the Jaegers, or to the precursors, the alien overlords. So, like, it's just very much this free agent that just sort of does as it wills. Mm-hmm. So it's very possible they could have come into contact just by dint of being in the wrong place in a long time. He just like decided to fuck up. Essentially, we run into May. She's sort of trying to figure herself out. There's a moment of levity that they have a little fun dance party before shit goes foul again. Guess who turns back up? Copperhead, the big bad kaiju from the first part of the show. Because Because literally we have like all these different moments like where they just barely escape. Because this is a category forward, which is like the biggest naturally occurring one. Up to, they have there's a part 5 in the first one, but there's only one. So literally they have like, they threw him off a cliff, didn't work. They blew him up with like 10,000 mines, just knocked him out. So literally, like, they have not made any sort of significant lasting damage on this Kaiju. So this is like their round 3 final stand with this son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's my favorite fight of the whole series.
Yep.
Not series.
But of the black, yeah. And at this point, May and Taylor are piloting Atlas Destroyer, and they're sort of just getting every lift they can, because they only have their spear whip, which they have to, it's not as directly damaging like a sword or a blade is, so they have to be judicious with it. Plus, they're still figuring out how to use the damn thing.
Yeah,
but it does lead to some pretty sick moments, like when they use one of their claws to like rip out a chunk of Copperhead's chest, and they slice off one of his hands or feet with like the blades on the whip.
Yes, it's so cool. I love the fact that like when you shoot it out, it's a normal, just like a string, but they can also shoot sharp blades like a chainsaw, and you cut
it's like,
the arm off.
It's a bladed chain, pretty much. It's so sick.
It's like Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Essentially, like you got Ivy and like Scorpion did the fusion dance. You get this thing.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
And in the precursor to like Atlas taking on Copperhead, we see the boy react to Haley being knocked out by Copperhead's attack, where he activates his superpower and becomes a miniature Kaiju. And like we all knew he had like some kind of Kaiju like boogity boo, but like I'm not sure if I was really expecting to do this like whole anime level. Like, oh, he is a Kaiju. I don't know if I was quite expecting that though.
Yeah, I was the same boat.
Yeah,
but I will say his fucking
wasn't
Kaiju design was fucking sick.
Yeah, it was. And this seems like something that would be saved for like a very main like character, but it's saved for him, which is fine. I'm excited to see where this goes.
And imagine he's going like his Kaiju form is going to continue to evolve as we get into the second season.
Yeah,
and they have this to continue to fight. Haley wakes up and she sees her parents' mech. She goes up to it because it still has an active warhead, but it's just jammed. So she's able to kick it out and turn on the robot. So she aims the missile, and they're able to kick Copperhead to the air, and they knock the missile into its little chest hole, blows the bitch into smithereens.
I did not like how she, to dislodge the nuke, unjam it, she had to kick it. Very unsafe.
What are you talking about?
What could go wrong with kicking a nuclear warhead?
Okay, there was a bit in there too where because the Kaiju kid, he gets trapped under some rubble as a Kaiju, and Taylor is just like, we picked him up in Meridian, and then like he was like, I thought maybe the government might have made him, and then May's like, homebrew Kaiju, like impossible, no way, dude. Like
where else would he come from?
Like okay, what makes you think it's impossible? Because there are giant robots, there are aliens, there are giant monsters. So you don't think it's possible that the government decided to splice human DNA and mix it with Kaiju DNA to make a perfect hybrid? What do you mean that's impossible? Not possible. What? Anything's possible in this stupid, crazy world.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but until it's confirmed, he could have just been like captured and kept sated in this tank. It could have been like the precursors. Because they did some, they're the one that made the Kaiju and like made the Kaiju seeds that infect robots. So,
no, I totally get it. Like, it's totally possible that he was captured, because later we finally actually get to see a group of characters that were referenced earlier in the season called the Sisters, and apparently he is the Kaiju Messiah.
Yeah, which was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then that's sort of the cliffhanger the season ends on.
Because we have like this mysterious cult. We were introduced to these things called the Sisters, and they had like this barter system with Shane. Where like, if you give us kaiju eggs, we'll give you like resources like tech and things like that. And that didn't go well. But so obviously there's these weird cult-like entities that one are worshiping the kaiju and collecting their parts, but also two, they can control kaiju because the Ripper mini kaiju dogs, they're apparently can be controlled by the Sisters as well. So like, I'm very interested to see like one, what gives them that ability, and two, like how or if they're connected to the precursors, because we don't know if they're directly working with them or just like they're just a third party that of like kaiju like fanboys.
Yeah, that'd be funny if they were just like no, the kaiju aren't made by aliens. That's propaganda. It's a conspiracy. And it's like, bitch, we saw them being created by the aliens in the dimension. What do you mean?
They are fucking kaiju truthers.
Well, it's funny you say propaganda. The poster for the Pan Pacific like Kaiju Defense Corps is very clearly modeled after Soviet propaganda posters.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I saw that. I was like, what? Like that's immediately recognize that.
But yeah, I mean that's at least as far as the plot goes. Everything that happens, I kind of went through it semi in order.
I will say one of my favorite things about the show is like I really like how they explored more of the like mental drift, like how when two people pilot, like their memories are basically mixed together in a mental headspace. So like a lot of people's, like when basically everybody's brains have touched this at this point. Like you see other people's memories go into her. Like basically when Haley and May drift, they sort of like, oh wait, we had this sort of shared trauma of like we killed a lot of people directly or indirectly, or like when Joel was like having 30 men crammed to his head, like he lost a lot of his sort of tech skills, but he gained like a lot of their like menial skills like combat or like knife throwing or juggling, like all these sort of extra things. I thought it was really cool how they really dived more into that aspect of the show.
Yeah, I did too. It kind of reminded me of the mind meld from Rick and Morty.
Oh,
with the dragons,
Morty's mind. Oh!
Slut dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking about Morty's mind blowers or whatever.
Well, with May, that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, that is. Man, yeah, I really enjoyed that too, especially when because Joel was able to convince Taylor to do that ghost drifting solo, where he was able to first co-pilot for him to have a second set of memories. He was able to use other Rangers' memory files, which he used Herc Hansen. That's where Herc Hansen comes in, and it was interesting too because Herc Hansen's memories replaced his memories. So like earlier in the show, whenever he finds like certain Jaegers and stuff, he recognizes them, but he doesn't because they're Herc Hansen's memories. I thought that was interesting as well. Also, it implies more that family members are easier to drift with because they share the same memories.
There's not as much that will get like lost and overridden because usually what we see in the products at this point, most Jaeger pilots are usually either family members or lovers, because their parents were Jaegers, and like in the first movie they had the Russian couple that were pilots. So like that's obviously you need a strong connection, and like you have to have like if one starts to bleed into the other, it's not going to be a big issue because you already have like this shared connection anyway. So like them really highlighting that has been one of my favorite sort of parts of the show because they had that extra time to flesh out this part of the universe.
Yeah.
All right, but I guess sort of wrapping up, what do we hope to see from season 2, and would we recommend this to any kaiju fans out there?
I really want to say that You know, like I said, I actually really enjoyed it. I say give it a go. Easy watch, really easy. Like, you know, it dips a little in the middle, but honestly, it kept my attention. And you know, and like we get angry and we say all this stuff before, but really, I want to see how it's more fleshed out in season 2. I want to see where it goes. I want to see if there's anything they correct. I want to see if there's better battles, because Jesus Christ, I mean, you know, I know it's not all about battles, but come on, man. Atlas Destroyer got his ass kicked for most of the show, so like, can we get some more wins other than them fighting Copperhead?
I just want more battles, period. Like, it just felt like it was lacking. Like, there was only 2 episodes with awesome fights, in my opinion, which is the first and the last.
Yeah.
I want to see more body mods for the Jaegers.
Yes.
Like jerry rigging it with like making it like a junk Jaeger. Yeah.
And also too, like I really want to see more like character exploration and world building, because what they sort of introduce with like the different camps, I'd be interested to see sort of that, the politics of that and how that plays into different things.
Also, what's going on outside of Australia?
Yeah.
Yes. It's been 5 years. Like, what's happening? Like, are they still fighting in other continents? Is all the precursors focus on Australia? Like, what's going on?
I guess until we get like a place with working tech, they won't know what's happening in the rest of the world. But that gives us, if they resolve what happens with Australia, that gives us like, you know, this whole extra like rope to play with for like a longer continuation, like what's happening in the rest of the world. So I feel like there's a lot of good potential here for like exploration.
Yeah.
Like we said, like obviously if you're a Kaiju fan, you're used to being like, you know, action being at the beginning, bookmarking a program. Like let's face it, Showa Godzilla films, you know, the action is sort of at the front and the back end of a picture, and the middle is kind of where like the talky human parts are. So that structure shouldn't be too unfamiliar to you, even if it's come from a more action heavy series. I feel like if you're a Kaiju fan, you'd be at least be able to weather that. I think there's a lot of fun here. I think we all had a good time, and there's some really legit surprises and shocks. Like that one part at the beginning where they take the missile and shove it down that one acid quill's throat, and he fucking blows up. That was sick.
Yeah.
Yes, that was sick, because it was almost about to hit their kids, and okay, that was sick. Yep.
So I think we're very much looking forward to season 2 of Pacific Rim to Black, and hopefully to just like a general continued expansion of the Pacific Rim universe. We don't really have a lot to play with here, and it's been just a long time between sort of installments, even like outside of, you know, movies or animation. I mean,
Yes. Okay, hear me out though. Okay, I know we got one good movie and one bad or okay movie, but it would be kind of neat if they went animated only or animation like currently only right now. And okay, here's my hope. I really, really hope it'd be kind of sick if once they get out of Australia, because it's been 5 years, it's like more of a post-apocalyptic world. Like, that'd be kind of cool, because then it's like, what? You got a jerry-rigged Jaeger now traveling across the world fighting monsters.
I want more jerry-rigged robots fighting each other.
Hell yeah. Also, like, I don't know if he would want to come back, but I would like to see Guillermo del Toro come back to the series.
yeah.
Please.
I know
Please.
he's childlike in the good, best and worst ways, because he has these wonderful, fun ideas, but also he's very easily distracted by the next thing he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's true. You gotta love him for it,
God
though.
bless him, because he's a tremendous creator, and we're glad he gave us this much so far. I don't know to what extent he has an involvement with this, but I think, you know, him having any fingerprints on it again would be fantastic.
Yeah, even if it's just like, I don't know, like a little bit with the show, or even doing another movie. Like, knowing him, he probably doesn't have much of an interest to come back, Because I imagine the first movie was,
I mean,
at least in his mind, was supposed to be a one and done.
I know he had
Yeah.
like at least after the first movie he had like a bigger world planned. I think just because like we said, he's very sort of attention deficit.
Well, and he's gotten screwed out of some things in Hollywood too.
So I know like the whole thing about the kaiju being like, I mean, the kaiju seeding into yogurts and then mixing, that was a plot point that was going to be in the original animated series that was pitched in 2013, 2014, which kind of got picked up by the second movie and it's sort of lived on through this. So like I still think like the DNA of his concepts initially will live on, but of course also like he's very much wants to move on to his next newest idea, which he gives all of his attention to, which is awesome. But also like for fans who really like to see his other stuff fleshed out, you kind of just have to hope and wait and see.
I was gonna say, if Netflix is charging what, like $18 now for a subscription, like get him on board for the show. I bet 100% he would love that. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I think he would love it because we know he loves kaiju stuff.
I just don't know what, because I know he's got like one movie I think that's supposed to come out either the end of this year or next year.
Antlers, please, God, I want to see Antlers so
and
bad.
then he's got a Netflix movie. It's a Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's a horror version of Pinocchio that's stop motion.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay,
So-
I want to see that.
So
I didn't
obviously
know
he's
that.
at the Netflix
Oh,
headquarters.
But hey, quick question, everybody, right now on the spot, come up with your Jaeger
fuck
name.
off. I can't come up with that on the spot.
Well, Winslow, you start us off. Oh,
somebody else say
you
something?
throw that.
You can't drop that
I've been thinking
fucking
about
bomb.
it. I've been thinking about it all day.
I got one. Onyx Tyr. Tyr, the Norse god of justice.
Okay, that's pretty rad.
Okay.
You're going to have to come back to me later about this. I can't think of anything right now.
Crimson Minerva.
Damn it.
Okay.
I was going to use Minerva, but fuck.
Yeah.
My name is Bleached Asshole.
Okay.
okay. Most powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with 2 bleach cannons. That would probably kill the kaiju, actually.
Yeah, probably.
I have one in my head. I don't know if it's the best name, but it's just the two cool words that bumped together. Cyanide Manticore.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
cool, though. That is
pretty
cool.
good.
Because, I mean, really, it just seems like they're bumping... they're putting badass words together.
And while John's thinking, I do think it'd be cool, like if like the draft compatibility of the AYCH crew, like what would a Colton Winslow Jaeger team look like? What would a John and Pat Jaeger team look like?
I feel like Colt Wenzel team would be explosive. Our arsenal would probably be more gun explosive related.
Yeah, I would agree. We'd probably have the miniguns and probably those launchable nukes like Hunter Vertigo and that one other unit have. If we could, though, I wish if we had the same kind of like mobility as the Apex, the biomech, that would be sick. But we'd probably be distance probably.
I had an idea for the John Pat like our mech. I imagine ours would be like more like somehow silly, but also still dangerous.
Yeah.
Like we would have like a fucking like battle fan be like bitch, and then like then
Yes.
just slice a kaiju's neck open.
Fuck yeah. Like
that's pretty
Katana and Mortal Kombat.
Okay, that's pretty good though.
All right, I got a working title.
I mean, we should.
Okay,
Solar Osiris.
that sounds badass.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
good.
That's badass. Okay.
We got a lot of different gods here. We got Norse, we got Egyptian, we got Greek.
Roman.
Yeah, Roman. Sorry.
Hell yeah, I like it. We got Onyx Tyr, we got Solar Osiris,
Crimson Minerva.
Crimson Minerva.
Cyanide Manticore. I mean, Manticore is like a Middle Eastern creature, so like we have some diversity here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. That sounds pretty slick. Pacific Rim to Black Season 3. Call AYCH. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, and we're all solo pilots because we can handle
Yeah,
it.
we're built different.
badass. Yeah.
All right, so I think we have a pretty strong representation for Pacific Rim to Black. If you're a Kaiju fan, we think you'll be well serviced in this show, and we hope that you continue on with our month of Kaiju content. Although we will say we're taking a little bit of a break next week. We'll be talking about another sort of, I think, Kaiju size content. We'll be discussing the season premiere of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we still have plenty more Kaiju content coming up the rest of the month. So be sure to stick with us on that. Also check out our brand new spin-off series, Cage of Greatness, where our friend Justin, along with Jonathan, Ken, and myself, we discuss Nick Cage films on a bi-weekly basis, and we have another episode coming up. If you're listening to the week, comes out this week as well. So be to check that one out. It's definitely a hoot and a half, to say the least. So thank you all for listening today. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, and any RSS feedcatcher out there. Be sure to like, rate, subscribe on all those platforms. Helps us out, and we really appreciate you when you do it. You follow us on our socials on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcasts, Letterboxd and Facebook at AllYouCanHear, Twitch at twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and YouTube, which is also at AllYouCanHear. And lastly, follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. John lost his name in my art on Facebook. John lost his name art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and JohnUnsun12 on Letterboxd.
My name is Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. All I know is after watching this, I really want to rewatch the first Pacific Rim, and I definitely want to watch the second.
Hell yeah. Thank you for listening. I'm Winslow. You can follow me on Twitter at WinsleyBook. You can follow my art Instagram at WalterWinsley. Go to my Linktree, my Goodreads, and my Letterboxd in there. So check those out. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night, and talk to you very, very soon.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Crikey!
Boken.